I have a question. One of the things that I see happen in 2023, the state of Illinois never did anything, so we have to file state law. So that's what we did. And then somewhere around Christmas, I don't remember the exact, last Christmas, I don't remember the exact date. There was a lawsuit in Cook County, and then the state said that Cook County people are following a different law, which isn't the one you're talking about. And so they have lawsuits now for all the back equity going back in time. And all those people are coming forward. And I don't know how far back in time they went, and I don't even know what the lawsuit number or none of that is. But I'm taking it from what you're saying is that we are liable the same as Cook County would be for all the back stuff that wasn't taken care of the right way, according to Tyler?
Well, I will say this. Cook County is different, and they look specifically at some of the procedures that Cook County was implementing. We did not do the same thing as they did. We were trying to be proactive. When this decision came down, I knew it was trouble. That's why we started getting the notices. We started treasurer was required to participate in the tax sale to sign off on an indemnity thing. Now, not everybody did it, but we got some people to do that in the event that they would have to indemnify us for the loss of the surplus. I was objecting to tax deeds. When I was in court, I was putting on the record, hey, there's this Tyler case out there, and these people's home, surplus have got to be protected. So the treasurer and the state's attorney were trying to take some actions, and there's, of course, being court transcripts, that we tried to slow down this process a little bit to protect us. I think that's going to differentiate us from some of the other counties that may be on the hook.
What we've tried to do is protect us from the future, but we can't control those individuals who may go into court and try to take some action. And those Cook County cases and others may serve as precedents for those actions. And you don't know what the judge is going to do. You don't know what's going to happen on appeal. You don't know but in general, we've done the right thing. All our tax buyers were given notice right after the Tyler case came down. They were at least given a disclosure that says this equity, that if you get this house 3 years from now, if you take it by deed, this equity that you're taking from that prior homeowner may be in jeopardy. We told them that. Then the next year, we asked them to sign it. There was no law that made them do that, but we asked them to sign it. And so we've done what we could do because, as you said, the existing law said I had to hold that tax sale. I had to do it. But so we're kind of in between. Until Illinois took this action, we couldn't do what we're asking you to do today.
So I had one other question for Scott. Seeing how is the state of Illinois refused to do anything about it, wouldn't have to be immediately, but 3 years, they've done nothing. Can we sue the state of Illinois for our damages?
I'm not going to speculate on some. Obviously the state has sovereign immunity. So suing the state of Illinois, I don't know where that's going to go. In fact, I'm not going to say it.
Well, what I'm
my
getting at,
compatriots here do not want me to talk about my prior cases, but, there's a sovereign immunity issue that's going to be
even
involved.
with sovereign immunity, if you take it to a federal court, you could probably sue the state for damages because they didn't obey what the decision was in 2023. I mean, I get it. They wouldn't do it in 1 month. It would take some time, but 3 years is too much time. So I think that we should even look into a federal lawsuit against the state of Illinois for not doing what they should have did back in 2023.
I will say this. We will take a look at that option. And if there's a route, and you can take my word at this, if there's a route for us to go, we're going to take it. This is what we do. If there's a route that we can take to make the state accountable, we're going to take it. Now, another option, possibly if you're a legislative committee, is to get the state to give us a grant to fund this surplus equity fund. That might be a legislative thing that the board can do and add it to its legislative agenda. Say, hey, you stuck us with this surplus equity fund. How about a grant to pay for some of this stuff? we'll have a little bit of a better idea. Maybe they create a grant process where counties can apply to the state and say, hey, look, we got these properties we want. So that possibility is out there too. So I don't know if, using a carrot or a stick would be the best approach on this, but certainly I think that's an option that can be added to the legislative agenda, and maybe that's something they will do.
See, that your option is a good option to help the county, but it doesn't help taxpayers because they're going to say, yeah, we'll give you a grant, then they're going to do a new tax to make us pay for it. So it's, it's a circle, big shell game, you know what I mean?
I
So-
understand it.
Yeah, so I like your, the $20 fee. I get it. It makes sense. And I have to think more about the other one, but I think it makes sense, but I got to make sure. So with that, Joe, can you make sure that you send this presentation on email to everybody on the board, including?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
It's
no, I
attached.
think you made a good presentation and it makes sense.
The PowerPoint is in the packet.
And it's on your agenda. And
Yeah,
if you want
I
a
look
separate
at it,
email, we can
I
do that.
read the agenda. I didn't go into the packet because I already had a good idea, because I've been studying all this stuff for probably 7-8 months.
The packet has information about the trustee. There's a flow chart that's in the packet that talks the differences between what the trustee does and what the private taxpayer does. The packet for this meeting is quite informative. There's also something from the UCCI. They did a summary of the law that I found to be satisfactory to give. It goes into a little bit more depth of what the statute is, and then next month or the next month or two, there might be some additional material made available to you that goes into detail about this as well.
And like I said, I think you gave a good presentation and the stuff makes sense what you're saying, so I don't have no argument with you, but look at the room that we have, most of the people, but not all. So
Yeah.
I
When the more information is available, it'll be sent out to the board members. Yep.
All right, thank you. Member Butler?
okay, I had a couple questions. Well, the first one, what you said, it's not fair that we have to pay, but it's also not fair for the people that lose their houses, that they don't get all their equity. So, there's a double-sided coin. Does the government take the hit or do the people take the hit? So, that's kind of, when you say it's not fair, well, in my mind, it's not fair to the people that own their houses that are losing their equity. So, I don't even want to go any further with that, but what I wanted to find out, the $99,000 indemnity fund limit, that's from the old plan. And the new plan doesn't include a $99,000
No,
indemnity.
the indemnity fund is still in place.
It's in place. So
Yes.
what if the value of the house is over 99,000?
Well,
Because
they would probably make a surplus equity thing in instead.
it's surplus equity
You
suit.
can't do both. You got to choose.
Okay. And I have one other question. I'm writing this down. We got a lot of work to do to go over all this stuff, but I like what you proposed anyway. But now, the next problem that I see is what I was just listening to the thing, is that the way you determine the value of the house is what the assessed value is, multiplied by 3. So that gives you the market value. But, well, we got a problem in Will County with businesses like big box stores or whatever. We're under assessing them for a long, long time. Not all the assessors, but some of them. So let's just say a property is assessed for $100,000 market value. And then it's really worth $1 million. What happens to get all the money? So now they're going to go to a surplus equity suit if they just walked away. And so you're going to look at the difference. You'd have $900,000 that we'd be liable for. Is that
Well,
correct?
the Supreme Court did throw us a bone this last session. So the same folks that won the Tyler case went back to court, the Supreme Court, trying to say that the measure of damages for these losses should be the fair market value of the homes. At the time the deal, Supreme Court essentially during the argument said, well, wait a minute, you're turning the county into a real estate agent. How does that fare? So the counter to that was that the surplus should be measured from an auction price. And the Supreme Court agreed with that position. So how they're being measured under Pung, which is the Supreme Court case, I think it's Pung versus Isabella County. How it's being measured now with the Supreme Court in determining what the equity is, it is now being measured by what it takes at auction. So under your scenario, we have to look at what the property fetched at an auction. You're talking about, well, properties are under assessed. We can't, there's no way to, anybody can go out and say
You
something.
answered it well. I mean, I saw a flaw and I'm glad I bring it up.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, yeah, Tyler only covered residential. And that's what we're dealing with. The commercial properties right now are not, if a business screws up and don't pay a bill, I don't think that's the same scenario as to somebody losing their personal home and their equity in their home. That's a different thing. There are different redemption periods. There are different rules apply. Right now, this is confined to the Tyler case. The Tyler case dealt with a residential property. That's what we're dealing with here now.
Yeah, I just figured it would work the same way, but you just answered the question. It goes to auction because if a property was misinterpreted as the value, it goes to auction. It tells you the value.
That's how it gets measured. Correct.
Okay.
Member Berkowitz?